Hey everyone, welcome to Chats with Codisha. I'm back again with another awesome episode. I have my friend Garrath Robinson here today. He's a father, athlete, combat veteran. He started off marketing by building a general contracting business with a friend in college. And from there, he spent a lot of time in different facets of marketing, from email to digital marketing, copywriting, campaign management, as well as demand and lead generation. In the last 4 years, his focus has been go-to-market development and marketing operations. Thanks for joining us, Garrath.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be on with you.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. We've been Twitter friends for a while, so you always have good stuff to say, and it's nice to finally get to chat a little bit.
Yeah, same here. I've really enjoyed some of our conversations around marketing over the last year or so.
Yeah,
Was really looking forward to hopping on here with you.
and thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you. And I know your husband's a uh, veteran as well.
Yes, he's in the Navy. Yes.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah. So military life. All right, well, let's get into it. So tell us a little bit more about who you are. I know I just read the bio, but tell me more about your marketing background, what you do, and what you like about marketing.
Yeah, so kind of like you pointed out in the beginning, I at a very young age, I always wanted to kind of be an entrepreneur, build my own businesses, etc. And I think the part I really gravitated to was the sales and marketing aspect of it because, at a young age, 12, 13, I had a landscaping company and, it wasn't the work that I enjoyed the most. It was building the relationships with, your customers and
Yeah.
people in the neighborhood. And so that always kind of stuck with me. And when I was in the military, I went in with kind of the mindset of, hey, I'm coming in, I'm doing my 4 years, and I want to go to school and kind of, go down that the road of entrepreneurship, but leaning into the marketing and the sales aspect of it. So when I
Mm.
got out of the army, I took like a 6 month sabbatical because I started as a full-time college student 5 days after I got out and ended up running into an old friend of mine I hadn't seen in like 7 or 8 years. And we met up over a beer, and somehow out of that came, the idea to start a general contracting business together. At the time, I was a freshman in college and I wasn't really learning the marketing and sales stuff that I wanted to learn.
Mm.
And so that was a big driver for getting that first business up and running.
Mhm.
And so from there, we built that, graduated, both kind of went our separate ways, sold the business, and then I ended up starting a couple e-commerce companies. I honestly got started in e-commerce just selling gym chalk. I didn't
Oh
have
wow,
any
that's
any
cool.
idea of what to sell.
Uh-huh.
And I knew I wanted to do it, and I was just at the gym one day, and I was like, you know what? I can never find gym chalk. So, um, got into that and had pretty good success with it, honestly. And
That's awesome.
so from there, I started my first like real brand on Amazon. At the time, Amazon FBA was kind of the play,
Mm.
and I started off selling phone cases, and then eventually got into phone cases and screen protectors, HDMI cables, all that fun stuff. Eventually, kind of got to a point where I was a little bit in over my head. I was still in school,
Mhm.
and it was my senior year. Son had just been born and everything, and so ended up tabling that. And from there, I got my start as a campaign strategy intern on two presidential campaigns in 2015, which was a really interesting experience. But it was a side of marketing I really didn't want to be on. I got to kind of see behind the scenes how campaigns are run, how money is gathered, and it did not stick well with me. So I got into it. What I always kind of knew about myself was I was really good with systems and processes.
Ah, okay.
Um, yeah, and so I started off after that experience. I was a digital strategy consultant for banks and credit unions, but 25% of it was kind of helping them with their brand, but the other 75% was kind of building the technical infrastructure to support their
Mm,
customer journey and their customer life cycles. And so that was kind of my first foray into the technical side of things. And then from there, I eventually went on to some other opportunities. I worked on a similar project with Kroger and Microsoft, um, on a very large international project over 6 months, which was a lot of fun, but still wasn't getting kind of the experience I wanted there. So from there, I kind of went into the startup route. Um, and a few years ago, I hooked on uh, you call them a startup, but they kind of had hit product market fit and were aggressively growing the company. And that's where everything really kind of changed for me. I took everything I learned from there. I had, a lot of opportunities come my way last year. Eventually took an opportunity with an AI company out of Sweden. The business unit I run demand gen and growth marketing for is, um, kind of a new business unit. So we're building out our go-to-market operations here in North America, as we
mm,
speak. So
wow.
basically the last 3 or 4 years, my hat that I wear is go-to-market execution and marketing operations to help build the infrastructure to support that. So that's kind of my career in a nutshell. I think for me, the part I enjoy about marketing, or at least my little niche within marketing, I really have I think a natural understanding for systems and processes, how to create efficiency. And I think for me, with that coming natural to me, I get a lot of a personal reward out of helping not just the marketing team, but the sales team, business operations, customer success,
Mhm.
helping everybody tie all of that together.
That's great. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah.
Um, and to add to that, a lot of conversations I see around marketing are sometimes just about one aspect of it. And
Yeah.
so that's why I wanted to have you on because, I talk a lot about social media, but I also, and I don't know a lot about other, aspects of marketing. I have a general understanding, but I think it is important to think of this as it's a whole picture. It's like we have to
Hmm.
have a holistic view of marketing in every company. It's not just email, it's not just social, it's not just customer service. It all has to blend in together. So what would you say marketing operations is to a business and why it's important for them to understand?
Yeah, I this is a really good question, and I think you're going to get a different answer depending on who you're talking to and the type of company that they're working in. And I think where a lot of companies get the marketing operations role, and marketing operations as a whole, right now, I think you're going to see most of those positions in B2B SaaS and sales led and product led companies. But I think, you know, for me, I see marketing operations as a subunit of business operations and revenue operations. That role exists not only to support the marketing and sales team with, um, technical infrastructure and design, but I think it's also there to help kind of be that center point project manager that
Mhm.
is your go-to person that delegates with the biz ops team, delegates with the revenue operations team, delegates with the graphic designers, etc. You're kind of taking some of those manual tasks off of everybody else's plates, that way that they can keep driving their part of the projects forward. And I think in a lot of companies, marketing operations gets treated as an extension of marketing automation, which, marketing automation definitely plays a role in marketing operations, but in my mind, that's, 10, 15% of what a marketing operations professional does. So
Mm.
that's kind of my outlook on it, and, what I believe marketing operations is. But like I said, you're going to get a little bit of a different response, kind of depending on who that person works for and the type of company that they work in.
Right. So does every company size need to have marketing operations? Like, what if
Mm,
it's a very small business? I mean,
yeah, if you're a small business, you don't really need, I don't think you need a marketing ops person until you're probably where your marketing team is hitting about 8 to 10 people, maybe even more,
Right.
because otherwise, there's that workload's just not going to be there. You're going to be paying somebody $100,000 plus, and they're not really going to have much of a workload to work with. Now, if you are a small business and you maybe want to think about hiring somebody who's more of a marketing operations person, who is there to help you kind of drive projects along, build the infrastructure for your go-to-market execution. Maybe you look at a contractor or a freelancer who's in that space, who has experience with your tech stack or whatever, and maybe get part-time work out of somebody. But I wouldn't do it unless you actually have a marketing team that you're 8 to 10 people and the business is growing and you're planning on scaling your marketing team as well.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is marketing operations involves a lot of project management skills. But if someone was thinking about getting into this type of role, what would you say the skills that they need to have, soft and hard skills?
Yeah, I think in my experience, um, because I've been in a org where everyone's technical and everybody just gets it, and I've been in orgs where maybe the marketing team, there's not a lot of technical people on the team, and so I think number one, being able to explain things in a simple manner goes a very long way. It goes so far into helping you accomplish the goals in that position and help keep projects driving forward. Um, and I think another critical skill is simplifying complexity.
Yes.
How can we
I
take,
think everyone could take that skill, but yes.
yes, because, it's so hard, no matter how perfect you have your infrastructure set up, something's always going to break. There's going to be something that breaks. And the more complexity that you have layered on, the harder it becomes to solve that problem. And now you've gone from like one or two stakeholders, you
Mhm.
know, hitting your inbox with like what is going on. Now you have 20 people and now you're on multiple calls. And, so it goes a long way to be able to simplify the complex. And I think number three, really being the type of person who is proactive and knows how to manage their time, because so much of marketing operations and the project management side of that role is keeping the ball moving, making sure that you know pieces of the projects are especially when you're doing an integration or you're doing a data migration or whatever that may be. You can't really afford to have things fall behind, and a project that should have been a month turns into 8 weeks, right? So being able to stay on top of the ball, being
Mhm.
able to motivate people to get something done. The soft skills there, it could be pretty complex, but I think you could pick up on those things throughout your career and really develop those
Mhm.
skills, as long as you're just paying attention and really taking the effort to, at the end of the day, look at what you did for the day, where can I get better, etc. So a big piece of marketing operations is really that personal development side of taking that ownership of continually improving, those three skills I just highlighted.
That's great. So, what would you say is the difference between a marketing director and a marketing ops person? Because it seems
That's
like
a
they almost have overlapping skills.
there is so much overlap, because especially when you get into more of a senior level expert role within marketing operations, in a lot of companies, especially depending on the size, you become the go-to-market expert. You become the person who, hey, we need you to put together the campaign strategy for this. You become the person that really gets to help drive strategy, because at the end of the day, you're the one helping build the infrastructure to execute it. And so it's this awesome. This is what I love about marketing operations, is you get the left brain and right brain experience at a premium. You get so much of the strategy
Mhm.
and the program development, but also getting into the technical weeds. And for me, I think it's fun to try to make things as efficient as possible. But there might not be a lot of people that agree with that.
Mhm.
I think you got to love to work with technology like that. if you don't like it, you can't force yourself to want to get into Salesforce every day and like really learn about it, So that's what I love about it. I think you really get that experience of driving strategy, driving, projects to a successful completion, and also getting in the weeds behind everything and understanding what it takes to execute an effective go-to-market,
Mhm.
strategy. So that's
Mhm.
what I like about it.
That's good. I'm glad you like it. You have to like what you do.
Yeah, for sure. Because I've been in roles, like in the past, I took a growth marketer role at a publishing company, and I mean, I hated it.
Yeah.
It wasn't the role itself as much as it was the industry. And
Mm,
so, I think that's such a big part of, a marketer's career is you've got to know what you want, the type of company you like to work for, the type of industry you want to be in. Like for me, I found that I do well in more techie industries like AI,
mm,
edge computing, true traditional like IT versus more, like media and publishing, etc. My personality just fits in with the people better, the way that I am and the way that I work. So I think, such a big part of the career, and I posted something about this the other day. I think one of the best moves a marketer can make is getting out of marketing for like a year or two. Go into business ops, go into
huh.
customer success,
Yeah.
etc. And really get an idea of like, oh,
Yes.
hey, like marketing actually impacts all of this.
It
And then,
does.
yeah, and you start to see like, okay, and then you come back into more of a marketing role. And
Hmm.
now you have a much broader view of the business. Now you understand the business needs, not just within marketing and sales, but across operations, customer success, etc. And now you have the ability to create a much bigger impact in your role than, hey, because I know what it's like to just be siloed into marketing. And it's like, well, what the hell are they doing over there in sales? So I went and spent a year in sales ops, and it taught me so much about like what salespeople run into, the type of support they need, the type of objections they're dealing with, some of the more monotonous pieces of the sales process. And so it just gives you a better idea of like not only the impact you're making, but like where you can help people within the organization from your seat at the table.
Yeah, that's like I'm internally yelling happiness right now. Like that is exactly my thoughts. And it's funny you say that because I have been thinking about getting into more customer success roles, because a lot of what I do in social is very much related to customer experience and success. And so
Yeah.
I think it is important to know what other people are doing, as well as, other departments knowing what we do, and so, and that's, I guess, where the operations thing side of things comes in, because oftentimes there are silos. I've worked in a variety of industries, and it's almost always marketing is like the last to know about things. We're not included in conversations. It's like it all gels together. We have to know what everyone's doing, even if we had, um meetings with each other just to discuss, hey, what's on your plate this week in sales, like what's on your plate this week with customer service, how this is what we're doing in marketing.
Yep.
Like I think that those type of meetings and conversations
Yeah.
would be more
And
relevant.
that's and that's really where the seat of the marketing operator or marketing operations person is. They're kind of the head of the table. You're meeting with your business ops people, on a weekly, semi-weekly basis. You're meeting with, for me, um, in my role, I've always had a really close relationship with the business ops folks,
Mhm.
Salesforce admins, campaign managers, event managers, et cetera, because all of that ties in together. And then, having the marketing operations person is also the spearhead for the sales team. They're the one meeting with sales and saying, what do you got? What are your goals over the next 2 weeks? What
Right.
do you need from us to help execute on that? So again, a lot of it comes down to kind of stakeholder management, but also because you're going to have sales. Sales sometimes has unrealistic expectations, or they don't truly understand what the marketing team is doing. So you've got to be that champion for the marketing team as well.
Absolutely.
And, you're meeting with sales to show them what you guys are building, what you're executing on, what the results are, because now you're building that trust between marketing and sales. And that's such a big part that, I don't hear a lot of people talk about, is
Yeah,
that
no.
relationship.
Mhm.
We all just assume like marketing and sales gets along and everybody, is happy, but it's at the end of the day, most companies, that relationship's not there. Sales is wondering what the hell marketing is doing, and marketing's wondering what the hell sales is doing. And so it's so important for that marketing operations person to, foster that relationship between both teams and make sure everybody knows, hey, we've got your back over here in marketing and vis-a-vis. So that's
Right.
kind of my outlook on it.
I think that's a great outlook. So when you work with clients who need, let's say, marketing operations, what is like the first thing that you diagnose when you're with a business, right? And let's say they're in that situation where sales is over here, marketing is over here, customer service is over here, digital marketing teams over here. No one really gets together. How do you gel and bring everyone together when they've been working separately for so long?
Yeah, this is I'm in a position now where that was the case before, and a large reason our CEO brought me on was because we had a long conversation about, hey, this is how it's traditionally been, but we need somebody to come in and kind of help us get the teams more aligned with each other. Um, at the end of the day, I think that you've got to be a true people person, and you've got to be comfortable with,
Mhm.
if there's a fire, you're that person. And sometimes there's multiple fires in a day. And when you start out building that trust, sometimes I think the best thing you can do, beyond the first 30 or 60 days, is when you start establishing those meetings with sales. Because what I think the mistake would be like, oh, we're just going to, you know, put a team meeting on the calendar. Both
Yeah,
teams are going to because now everybody's coming to the table with a little bit of edge to them.
right.
Whereas I think you kind of silo yourself off a little bit, and you go to one or two of your sales reps, you say, hey, what's something that you're struggling with that I can take care of? All right, cool, I can go build that out for you. I'll get that done. Now you just start creating some little wins, and now you start building that trust. You establish that trust, and once that trust has been established, now you start bringing more team members in, and so you got to think long term, because I think if you show up day one thinking I'm just going to get everybody together at the table, we're going to hash it all out, it's just not going to work.
Right. No, that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, honestly, I've learned a lot about marketing ops, and I feel like we should have like a part two or something
for
because
sure, for
we could
sure.
talk so much about this. And, as we've started the new year, I'm sure a lot of companies are thinking about what their sales plan is, marketing teams, getting everyone together. So I think this is a really important conversation to have. And I continue to tweet and post on LinkedIn about this because it needs to be known.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to have a part two. And, I would love to pick your brain about social media management and social
Yeah.
media operations because,
Yeah.
I think, I've been across multiple different types of sales-led, product-led businesses, et cetera. And I think you do a really good job at highlighting that most businesses are still getting it wrong.
Yeah.
I think you posted something really good the other day about, hey, if you're constantly having, it wasn't like, this isn't verbatim, but
Uh-huh.
if you're constantly have to using memes from the office to get engagement, like you're
Yeah.
doing it wrong. Like
Ugh,
something's wrong, fundamentally broken.
that's me.
And so,
I'm so, I mean, that's another conversation, but I am very
yeah,
not anti, I'm sort of anti-trendy.
me
Yeah,
too.
there's ways to stand out without trying to fit in with the next meme, and then you just look like every other brand. But
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So, but anyway, Garrath, thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed this. Where can people find you and learn more about you? Give us all your social media handles.
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram at gareth.robinson2. I haven't really posted there much, but I plan on getting content on there. You can find me on LinkedIn at gareth.robinson, or you can find me on Twitter at gareth_r, GARRATH.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right, talk soon.